Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm going to introduce you the concept of curl, C-U-R-L, and we are going to find a mathematical expression to determine curl in a three-dimensional vector field. So in vector calculus, the curl is basically a vector operator that describes very small circulation, okay, we say infinitely small circulation of a vector field in three-dimensional Euclidean space. Okay, so basically curl is a vector, okay, which will tell us what is or how is circulation of a vector field in three dimension. So basically curl can be calculated at a particular point only. So curl at a point in a field is represented by a vector whose length is magnitude and direction is denoted by axis of maximum circulation. I'll repeat that. Curl is always calculated at a point. We'll mathematically check why only at a point. Okay, so curl is usually calculated only at a point in three-dimensional Euclidean space, that is in a field, okay, represented by a vector. Means curl is usually represented by a vector and the length of this vector is magnitude and direction of curl vector will give you the axis of maximum circulation. So basically curl gives us an idea of circulation of a vector field with respect to an axis or a point. Okay, now look at this figure. I hope you can make out this figure as a three-dimensional figure. So these are my energy points, or I can take that this is the axis. Okay, if I draw a line, this becomes my axis. This is my axis of circulation or axis of rotation, I can say. And these vectors, right, small vectors, which represents the circular motion around this axis, okay, is curl. So if I can calculate direction and magnitude of this vector, it will give me curl of this particular vector, or in other words, this vector, each vector, okay, in this diagram, each vector represents curl at that particular point. So if we have this axis and there is something rotating around that axis, then this rotatory field around this axis can be measured at every point by representing using a vector, and this vector is nothing but curl. That is the idea. I hope I didn't confuse you. So to summarize, curl of a vector at any point, when I say point, it is this entire vector, okay. So the curl of a vector, so curl of this vector usually tells you what is the circulation of something, okay, about that point. So there is something keep on circulating like this around the same axis. It's not shifting it, okay, it's not shifting. So the axis is fixed and something is circulating around it always, like our earth is rotating around our axis, right? North pole, our earth rotation axis is believed to be passing through the north south pole. So our earth is rotating around that axis. So such movements can be calculated by using a vector at some point on Earth's surface, okay, represented by a small vector. Okay, now why we are discussing curl in this particular module? That is because the magnetic field lines produced by current carrying conductor is always in a rotating form, right, around the conductor. So we have seen thumb rule. So if thumb is current carrying conductor or thumb indicates the direction of the current, our magnetic field is always around that conductor. So basically the magnetic field lines produced by the current carrying conductor are rotating in form of a concentric circle around the conductor. So this tells you that there exists a curl of magnetic field intensity. Is it not? Because this field lines around the conductor indicates you the strength of the field. Should not forget that. Initial classes we have discussed that the density of these field lines will give you or will tell you that the strength of the field is more there. If density is less, then strength is less, right? So basically the strength of the field can be visualized by field lines. Keeping that in mind, these field lines are circulating around a single axis around my conductor, right? So this particular field line will have a curl. In the sense, I can calculate at any point on this circulatory field line, okay, I can calculate the curl. Means at any point I can draw a small vector and calculate its magnitude and direction. That's it. I am trying to make it very simple. Okay, you have so many field lines around the conductor. At any point on this field line, you can represent a small vector whose magnitude, okay, will give you whose length will give you the magnitude of that particular curl or that particular vector, and as well as it will give you the axis of maximum rotation or direction of rotation. Is it not? It will give you direction of rotation. Yeah. So now the direction of the curl is usually taken along the axis about which the rotation of a vector field exists. Okay, and proper direction can be obtained by right hand rule also. So let us see how to fix the direction of the curl and all later. So now whatever we have explained theoretically, it is necessary to explain mathematically. We should be able to derive an expression for concept of curl. So next we are going to see, okay, how to derive the concept of curl. So to derive that concept of curl, I have to consider a closed path. Okay, basically I'll be trying to apply Ampere circuit law to derive this. So I will be considering a closed path. When I say closed path, it is not away from the discussion which we have done just now. If this was the axis, okay, you can see these rotating vectors, right? These vectors represent. So you can consider this as a closed path, something like this, a rectangular closed path or a circular closed path, whatever. So I will be considering a rectangular closed path, okay, for the purpose of mathematical derivation. Okay, a circular, instead of a circular closed path, I will be considering a rectangular closed path because these vectors are straight lines. So when I consider it for an infinitely small area and a closed path, it looks like small vectors joined. So I will consider a rectangular path instead of a circular path. So let us check that. Okay, I hope the concept of curl is very clear. Or if you want, I can summarize it again. The concept of curl is used to represent direction of a rotating object at a particular point. It's that simple. Okay. Let us come to mathematical derivation now. So let me consider a closed path, okay, very small closed path having sides delta x and delta y. So this is my reference. I will be considering it in xyz coordinate system. So this is my small rectangular path. Let me name it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, easy for reference. And this side is delta. Okay, current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, I assume that current is flowing because basically what I am trying to derive is a curl of a magnetic field. So I am assuming that there is a current carrying circular path, something like this. Okay, and magnetic field is developed due to this current carrying conductor. So I am assuming that the magnetic field is developed at the center. So let this side be delta y and this side be delta x, because this is along y direction, this is along x direction. So I am considering this is delta x and delta y, and I am assuming that the magnetic field created is at the center of this circular loop, rectangular loop P. Okay. So magnetic field intensity, I am trying to find what is the magnetic field intensity at a point P. So how can I represent magnetic field intensity at a point P? So I can represent magnetic field intensity at the point P as my initial magnetic field intensity. Okay, an initial value of magnetic field intensity at point P as in general. Okay, in general representation I can say that it is hx naught x cap plus y component, that is hy naught ay cap. So these are the initial values, representation of initial values of magnetic field intensity in all the directions. Nice. Okay, now the closed line integral of h over this path I have to calculate. What I do next is I would like to apply Ampere circuital law. So I have to evaluate, or I love to evaluate what is closed integral h dot dl. This you keep as a reference. What I am trying to say is I have considered a closed path and P is the center of this closed path. Okay, and there is an initial magnetic field intensity at this point P, which I can represent in terms of x, y and z coordinates as hx naught x cap plus hy naught ay cap plus hz naught az cap. Now next my interest is to calculate the closed line integral of h, so that I can apply Ampere circuital law and I can try calculating what is the total magnetic field intensity, okay, produced by this rotatory path. That is the idea. What is the total magnetic field intensity produced by this rotatory path? So my magnetic field intensity at a point P act as the reference. Now a similar derivation has been done in electric field also, while deriving Gauss's law for differential volume, that is divergence theorem. So for divergence theorem also we have derived that theorem with similar approach. So I will not be explaining in deep each and every step here. If you are finding it difficult to follow, I suggest you to understand the concept of divergence theorem derivation. Again, watch that video again and then come back to watch this video, so that it will make yourself very clear how the concept of curl is related to concept of divergence in electric field. So that analogy also you can make yourself clear. Okay, forget it. Now closed integral h dot dl. How will I evaluate closed integral h dot dl? I can evaluate it by evaluating what is h dot delta L. Why I am considering delta L? Because it's very small length instead of dl. Now I am considering a measurable length delta L from 1 to 2. Plus means I have to evaluate what is h dot delta L in this section. Then I would evaluate what is h dot delta L in 2 to 3 section, and then I will evaluate what is h dot delta L in 3 to 4 section, and again the last one. Okay, so if I evaluate this section wise and then add them, I will get the total value over the closed surface, closed line. Okay, closed path, right? This plus this plus this plus this will give me the closed path. So if I evaluate what is magnetic field intensity over this length, over this length plus over this length, I'll get the total h dot dl. Now my duty is to calculate this individually. How I am going to evaluate h dot dl of each section? So let me take the first section. So how I am going to evaluate h dot delta L for the first section of the closed path? Okay, so the line integration of the first path. So I am going to calculate this now. So I should know what is h vector or how to represent h vector for that path. So can I represent h vector for that path as hy? Okay, I can easily represent it as hy. Why? Because it is in y direction. Okay, so this magnetic field intensity in the section 1 to 2 will be y component of magnetic field intensity. So I can represent the hy. To be more clear, I can write it as hy 1 to 2. Hy 1 to 2 ay cap. So magnitude into direction. So hy 1 2 is magnitude and ay cap is direction. Similarly, what will be delta L vector? What will be delta L vector? So delta L vector will be delta y ay cap. Nice. Delta y ay cap. Then what is h dot delta L? It's very easy now. What is h dot delta L? 1 to 2. So h dot delta L 1 to 2 can be written as this dot this. So ay cap dot ay cap is 1, and what remains for me is hy 1 to 2. Okay, hy 1 to 2 delta y. Now to proceed further, I should be able to evaluate hy 1 to 2. How to evaluate hy 1 to 2? Okay, so hy 1 to 2 is magnetic field intensity along the closed path from 1 to the point 2, and I know that at point P I have hx naught x cap plus hy naught ay cap plus hz naught az cap. Okay, now the intensity hy along 1 to 2, can I express it in terms of hy naught which is existing at point B? A big yes is the answer. What I can do is, if at point P hy naught is the value, then on this path 1 to 2, what would be hy? I can write a comparative expression. Is it not? So at point P I know what is hy. Hy is hy naught, some value, okay, some initial value hy naught. When I reach here, that is on the path, what would be that hy naught? If I write, then that would be expression for hy 1 2. So the intensity hy along 1 to 2 can be expressed in terms of hy naught existing at point P. Okay, and the rate of change of hy, along x direction. Why along x direction? Because at this particular point the magnetic field intensity is measured as hy naught, and when you are traveling towards this section, because I want to know what is h on this line, somewhere on this line, okay, somewhere, if I assume that it is uniform, so anywhere on this line if you calculate, the hy 1 2 will be same. So I need to calculate at this particular point, at that particular point, what is hy, so somewhere here. So from here to here, when I travel, I am traveling along x direction, okay, and I am traveling for a distance of delta x by 2. I am traveling for a distance of, because this total is delta x, so I am traveling for a distance of delta x by 2, and I am traveling in the direction of x. So if I can calculate what is the rate of change of hy naught when, okay, when it is traveling from point P to this point, then I can calculate hy 1 2. So how I am going to calculate that? The distance in x direction, okay, from point P, and what is the rate of change of hy in x direction with x. So how will I represent it mathematically? So I can represent it mathematically as hy1 to 2 is the initial value plus rate of change. So how hy is varying with respect to x-axis for a distance of delta x by 2. I hope this is very clear. So magnetic field intensity on the path 1 to 2 can be expressed as initial value at point P plus rate of change of hy along x direction for a distance of delta x by 2. So let me substitute this here, okay, and write a better equation for h dot L delta 2. So I write h dot L 1 to 2 as h y naught plus deba hy by deba x delta x by 2, this entire thing multiplied by delta y. Please mark it as some equation number for later reference. See, now I calculate or evaluated what is h dot delta L along the path 1 to 2. Similarly, we have to calculate h dot delta L, right? Similarly, we have to calculate what is h dot delta L in 2 to 3, in 2 to 3, in 3 to 4 and 4 to 1. Okay, so if it's not very clear how I got this equation, I can explain you 2 to 3 also. The remaining 2 I will directly write. Okay, save my time. Okay, so h dot delta L 2 to 3. How to evaluate this? This will become, okay, this will become h x, right? Because it is along x, means along the breadth of this rectangle. So which is treated as delta x. So h dot delta L 2 to 3 will be h x 2 to 3 in which direction? In x direction, right? In this direction, but which is opposite x direction. So I get it as minus x cap, and my delta L is also in opposite x direction, so that is also minus ax cap, correct? So I'll get it as hx 2 3 minus delta x, and similarly from this point P to this line, how will I calculate? What is the initial value here? Hx naught plus rate of change of hx along y direction, because when you are traveling from point P to the path 2 to 3, you are traveling along y direction. So magnetic field, initial magnetic field intensity at point P plus rate of change of magnetic field intensity along y direction for a distance delta y by 2. This distance is delta y by 2 for a distance delta y by 2. So that will give you the second. Similarly, you can calculate third and fourth. So I am going to write those equations directly. Okay. So please practice by yourself how those equations are derived, or you revisit explanation of divergence theorem. Anything will do, but what is important is you should understand this. Okay, so those who are watching, you started watching my video in college YouTube recently, please try to watch earlier video on divergence theorem. Try to understand exactly how we take the directions and exactly how we calculate the rate of change. Okay, then come back to this derivation. I am just repeating this because I don't want you to struggle even after listening to my video. Okay, so next h dot delta L along 2 to 3 will come as hx naught plus deba hx by deba y, as I just now explained, delta y by Okay, and this will be in minus delta x direction. So this is my second equation. So similarly, I have to do for other sections. So I'll directly give you the equations. You please verify it. So h dot delta L 3 to 4 will come as minus of hy naught minus deba hy, variation of hy along x direction for a distance of delta x by 2, okay, into delta y. This is third equation. I have written this, actually this is minus delta y, but I have written this minus here. Okay, so it becomes delta y. I taken this minus here, so if it's confusing, I'll take this minus here. Okay, this I'll remove. This I'll remove. Okay, this minus is on the top front. Okay, so now there is one more section remaining. So h dot delta L, this is 4 to 1, will be hx naught, it will be minus deba hx by deba y for a distance of delta y by 2 in plus delta x direction. So now you can relate these equations. See, first equation and third equation. So this is delta y is minus, rate of change is also minus. So you can relate 1 and 3. Coming to equation number 2 and 4, okay, they are along delta x direction. So this is minus and sorry, this the rate of change is plus and delta x is minus, and here rate of change is minus and delta x is plus, because they are in opposite directions. So now what I have to do, I have to add these equations, right? So if I add these equations, I will get my evaluation of closed integral h dot dl. So if I add these equations, see here, when I add these equations, hy naught is plus, okay, hy naught is plus and hy naught is here it is minus hy naught and plus hy naught cancels, evaluates to 0. Here minus hx naught and hx naught evaluates to 0. So now you see here, you have deba hy by deba x, delta x by 2 delta y. Deba hy you have here minus becomes plus. So deba hy by deba x, delta x by 2 delta x. So it becomes 2 times. This and this 2 times. Same way, here you have this deba hx by deba y, delta y by 2. Okay, minus deba hx, because there is minus outside here. So minus deba hx by deba y, delta y by 2 delta x, and here also minus deba hx by delta y. So 2 times, but negative. So you get minus 2 times this. So if I add and write it together, I hope addition is clear. So if I add and write it together, let me take a new page. If I add and write it together, I'll just end up with this. So closed integral h dot dl becomes deba, okay, if you want I'll write one more step, 2 times deba hy by deba x, delta x by 2 delta y minus 2 times deba hx by deba y, delta y by 2 delta x. Now these two cancels, these two cancels, right? And I get deba hy by deba x multiplied by delta x delta y minus deba hx by deba y multiplied by delta x delta y. So here delta x delta y is common, so I can easily write closed integral, okay, closed line integral h dot dl is deba hy by deba x minus variation of hx along y direction multiplied by area of the closed path. because delta x into delta y is the area, length into breadth. So this is my closed integral h dot dl. Now why I have calculated closed integral h dot dl, I have already told you that my intention was to relate it with Ampere circuital law. So as per Ampere circuital law, closed integral h dot dl is equal to the current. That is basically current enclosed, okay, I enclosed. And in this case, if you refer the figure, the current enclosed is treated as IZ. Okay, we consider current normal to the plane containing the closed path. Okay, so the closed path was lying like this on xy plane. So I take the current direction normal to that surface containing closed path. So my current direction is IZ. So I take the current enclosed by this closed path as IZ. The current enclosed by this closed path as IZ. Now see, now the things are very clear, will be very clear. This is IZ. Okay, so this is the conductor carrying current on the axis of this rectangular path, and this is the direction of magnetic field around it. Okay, now this is a vector, this is a vector, this is a vector, and this is a vector. So if you calculate the length, dimension and direction of these vectors, you will get what is the curl of this rectangular path or curl of magnetic field around this conductor carrying current IZ. That is the idea. I hope it is very clear now. Okay, so I get this as IZ. So I can directly write IZ equals deba hy by deba x minus deba hx by deba y into delta x delta y. Okay, now see what is the relation between current and current density. So can I write Jz, which is current density, okay, for the current Iz. Current density is nothing but the current by area. So it is basically Iz divided by delta x delta y in this case. So I can easily write current density Jz as Iz by area. So because this is delta y and this is delta x, so the area of this closed path is delta x into delta y. So the current passing through this area will give me the density. So I can easily understand that Jz is Iz by delta x. Okay, so if I take this delta x delta y to the left hand side, this equation can be written as Iz divided by delta x delta y, which is equal to variation of hy along x direction minus variation of hx component along y direction, right? So this is what I get. Now this Iz, okay, this Iz by delta x delta y is nothing but Jz, and this Iz as per Ampere circuital law is nothing but closed integral h dot dl. So I can write it this way also if I want. Closed integral h dot dl divided by delta x delta y will give me Jz. This way also you can look into this equation. Closed integral h dot dl divided by delta x delta y will give me Jz also, is Jz, which is in turn represented by deba hy by deba x minus deba hx by deba y. Okay, now see, I can also say that this path is very small, right? I have considered this infinitely small path. While defining curl also, we have told that the curls are basically infinitely small vectors representing the direction of circulation with respect to the axis at a point. That means this delta x delta y is basically very small. Okay, so I can write that when this delta x, okay, when this delta x delta y tends to 0, closed integral h dot dl divided by delta x delta y is better Jz. Okay, what do you mean by better Jz? Because now Jz acts as a single vector, okay, single vector, otherwise also it's single vector, but it acts as a vector concentrating at a small area or at a point, because the idea of the curl is calculating something at a point. Okay, so now when I say that limit delta x y, or when I say that delta x delta y is tending to 0, this area which we have drawn is now very small. Okay, it is reducing something like this, which is very small. So if you can calculate, okay, the current density at that very small area, I can calculate it as dou by hy by dou by x minus dou by x by dou by y. In the sense, this is also true, this is also true, both are true. But I am interested in very small area or a point, so I will be applying this equation. That is, limit delta x y tends to 0, closed integral h dot dl by delta x delta y is Jz, and that is same as this. Okay, it doesn't change. Dou by hy by dou by x minus dou by hx by dou by y. Now, what if we consider this closed path in xy plane? Sorry, we have considered it in xy plane. What if we consider it in yz plane? Because in xyz axis I have considered my path here. I can consider that path here also, right? I can consider that path here also, closed path. I can consider that path in this axis also, anywhere. So what if that path is here and what if that path is here? So looking at this equation, I should be able to represent what is jy and jx also. So jx can be represented as limit, when I consider jx, it is in this direction, it is in this direction, correct, it is in this direction. Now when it is in that direction, my area will be given by delta y delta z. So this, when this is very small, closed integral h dot dl by delta y delta z will give me jx, which is nothing but variation of z component of h along y direction minus variation of y component of h along z direction. So I have just written this, okay, just by looking at this equation. How I got this equation? I have hy varying along x direction, so here I will have hz varying along y direction, and here I have hx varying along y direction, so here I will have hy varying along z direction. So that will give me jx. Similarly, my jy can be written as limit delta z delta x tending to 0, closed integral h dot dl divided by delta y, divided by delta z delta x, which will be equal to variation of hx along z direction minus variation of hz along x direction. Okay, now if you have a confusion, how will I know that hx is first term and hz is second term? You have to simply follow the right hand rule of coordinate system, okay, x, y, z. So it is xy, yz and zx. So initially it was hy minus hx, hy minus hx. So my positive direction is this, so I am coming in opposite direction, that's why it is minus. So hy minus hx, Okay, so next should be hx minus hz, that is this, see, hx term, okay, minus hz term, that is because it is in this direction. Then hz minus hy direction, that is hz minus hy component. That way you can remember. That's how I remember it. Okay, because we are not deriving it, we are just writing it from the similarity, right? So you should not make mistake. If you write deba hy by deba z minus deba, it's completely wrong. So how you are going to remember it? So anyway you are deriving this, so I understood that you are tracing it in this way, that is y component of h minus x component, right? So hy minus hx, concentrate on this. So this is just a variation, right? Deva by deva x is variation. So hy minus hx, so next should be hx minus hz, and next should be hz minus hy. So that way you can remember it. Okay, now what should I do with this current density? What I got now, what I just calculated, even you see, even without planning, I have just calculated what is jx, jy and jz. Beautiful. I started with a closed path. Okay, I assume that the closed path has something circulating in it, then I calculated what is the magnetic field intensity on each of these path. I have divided the total magnetic field, okay, circular magnetic field, into small rectangular path, and I calculated what is magnetic field intensity on this each path, and we assume that this magnetic field intensity was created by a current component Iz, because it's normal to the surface, Iz, and from Iz I from definition of Jz, mathematically I expressed that field intensity as Jz, and with referring to Jz I could calculate easily what is Jx and Jy. So I have now the total current density with me, the total current density in all the three axes, right? I have Jx with me, I have Jy with me, I have Jz with me. So if you go with general representation, J vector, okay, J vector can be represented as Jx Ax cap plus Jy Ay cap plus Jz Az cap. Agree? Just vector representation. If I represent vector J vector in Cartesian coordinate system, this is how I do. And see now, I have Jx with me, I have Jy with me, I have Jz with me. So if I just substitute what is the value of Jx, Jy and Jz from the derived equation, I will get what is J vector. Nice. So what is that? See, I have here Jx is deba hz by deba, this equation, Jy is this equation, and Jz is this equation, right? Jz is this equation. Yeah. So let me substitute it there and write what is my J vector. So my J vector will be deba hz by deba y minus deba hy by deba z Ax cap plus deba hx by deba z minus deba hz by deba x Ay cap plus deba hy by deba x minus deba hx by deba y A z cap. So this is what I get. You agree? Okay. So what I can say in general, okay, in general what I can say is J vector is limit of, okay, limit of area tending to 0, because there I have written delta x delta y tends to 0 for each J component. So in general I can say limit area tends to 0 closed integral h dot dl divided by area. So my current density J is limit area tends to 0 closed integral h dot dl divided by area. Now what does this convey you? So this is a ratio of line integral of h over a surface area as the surface area is shrinking to 0. I'll repeat, this is a ratio of line integral of magnetic field intensity over the area of closed path when the area is shrinking to 0. This is nothing but definition of curl, right? Definition of curl is this. Definition of curl is, or concept of curl is, calculating the value or calculating the field at a point. Calculating a vector at a point is curl. Okay, so when the area is diminishing or vanishing, it becomes a point. So when you calculate a line integral of h over a diminishing area, h is a vector, so you are calculating a vector at a point. It gives you curl at that point. Okay, so this ratio is defined as curl. This ratio is defined as curl. So I can say that curl of h, okay, CURL, curl of h is nothing but limit, okay, limit s tends to 0. I can represent area as limit, area as s. So limit s tends to 0, closed integral h dot dl divided by small area, okay, delta s. Okay, so this can be the definition of curl, where s is the area of the plane enclosed by the closed line integral. Okay, now see, when I write curl h, this is not mathematical. It's a very, okay, very statement. It's very English statement, right? Curl h. So I need some operator indicating CURL. So the operator indicating curl is del cross. The curl is denoted as del cross. So I can indicate curl of h as del cross h. So curl of h is denoted as del cross h. So del cross h is ratio of line integral of magnetic field intensity over closed path to surface area as path shrinks to 0. If this delta is confusing you, you can take it as s also. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, because I have taken limit s tends to 0, so you can consider this as s if you want. So closed line h dot dl by s. I just represented delta because to indicate you that it says small area, vanishingly small area, but if it is confusing, it is okay. I can take it as delta s. Now what is this? This limit s tends to 0 delta s is j, right? So I can also write curl of h, curl of h equal to j, curl of h equal to j. So this is very, very significant or very, very important relation in study magnetic field. So if you can calculate curl of magnetic field intensity, you will get the current density. So current density at a point is nothing but curl of magnetic field intensity at that point. That's a very interesting result. Okay, I'll repeat, current density, okay, at a point in magnetic field is nothing but curl of magnetic field intensity at that point. So mathematically, how can I calculate curl of h? Curl of h is j and j is this equation. So curl of h is this equation. So mathematically I can calculate curl of h, that is curl of magnetic field can be calculated using this mathematical equation. Okay, to be more clear, let me write it. So curl of h can be calculated using the formula variation of z component in y direction minus y component in z direction ax cap plus d bar hx by d bar z minus d bar hz by d bar x ay cap plus d bar hy by d bar x minus d bar hx by d bar y. Okay, now if you observe this closely, if you observe this equation closely, this result, this formula can be written in determinant form. Okay, because this is ax cap multiplied by this minus this is ay cap multiplied by this component minus this component. Okay, similarly, so I can easily write it in term of determinant as curl of h can be mathematically evaluated as determinant of these values. Okay, that is d bar by d bar x, d bar by d bar y, d bar by d bar z of hx, hy, hz. If you can calculate, you will get what is curl of h. Okay, so curl of h can be calculated easily using this determinant form. So in this video you have learned how to mathematically evaluate curl of magnetic field intensity. So this is actually very significant mathematical formula. We will have numerous numerical problems related to curl of magnetic field intensity. And one more point I need to add here, that is the result curl of h equal to j, right? We got a result curl of h equal to j. This is also known as point form of Ampere circuital law. Okay, curl of h equal to j is also known as point form of Ampere's circuital law. So that also you can make a note. Curl of h equal to j. Okay, and it is one of Maxwell's equations also. So we will discuss that later anyway. So it is one form of Maxwell's equation. Okay, so curl of h equal to j. Okay, now I'll leave you a small exercise, that is I have represented curl of h only in Cartesian coordinate system. At the same time, the same derivation can be done in cylindrical coordinate system as well as in spherical coordinate system, as you know, because every conceptual idea of our subject can be derived in any three coordinate system, right? Either in cylindrical, spherical or Cartesian. For the simplicity, we always derive it in Cartesian coordinate system and we extend the result to the other coordinate systems. So how to represent curl of h in cylindrical coordinate system and spherical coordinate system, I leave you it as an exercise. So please find out how to represent curl of h in those two coordinate systems also. So thank you for patient listening. Bye.